Let's cut across to breaking news that's coming in. Truly tragic news from America of a teenage gunman who opened fire at an elementary school in South Texas, killing 18 children and 3 adults. The suspect has also been neutralized by cops. US President Joe Biden has ordered that US flags be flown at half-staff at the White House and other public buildings as a mark of respect for the victims in this shooting. Horrifying news that's coming in this morning. 18 kids have been shot dead. This has to be one of the worst mass shootings that America has seen. Obviously, it's going to put the spotlight again on the gun culture in America and how several such teenagers have resorted to these kind of acts before. In this particular case, the teenager who's opened fire was reportedly heavily armed, went on a shooting spree. An 18-year-old gunman who's in all killed 21 people. That includes 18 children. Let's take this across to Shivarur for more details. Tragic news that coming in this morning, Shiv, from this elementary school in Texas. 18 children, in all 21 people who've died at the hands of a teenager.
Akshita, we're reading from the US media reports from the site. This is the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, and is being described as the worst school shooting in the last decade, which is insane because hundreds of school shootings happen, practically every year. But this is by far the worst, in recent memory for sure. The shooter has been identified as 18-year-old Salvador Ramos. He was someone who was a local from the Latino community. There's a lot of back and forth going on on social media and in the local media in the United States about what his motivations are, but it is not known just yet. But what we do know is that this was a teenager who was active on social media. He used to post quite often about his assault weapons. Just a few days ago, apparently, he had posted pictures of of 2 assault weapons that he had recently purchased, but there were no indications, at least so far, about this horrific crime that he's gone on. It was a terrible shooting spree. He was also killed, of course, in this attack by a border patrol security agent who was near the school, who apparently did not wait for backup. So we don't know what Salvador Ramos's reasons were for this horrific crime. But as you said, Akshita, 18 children. This was an elementary school, so 18 young children and 3 adults, 1 special educator and 2 other staff members of that school have been massacred in this attack, in this school shooting. Images of Salvador Ramos have flooded the international media. We'll have his picture up on our screen in just a moment. He was just 18 years old, Akshita. 18 years old is of course adulthood in the United States. So many of those laws will apply. We understand that the police have swung into action. They have made some arrests of some close relatives and family members of Salvador Ramos in Texas. Important to note that he was a local. He was born and apparently brought up in the United States, in the city of Uvalde, Texas. Is of Mexican heritage, reportedly. That's going to become a huge issue in the United States as race becomes one of the big focal areas, as it always is during such crimes, except when the shooter is white. So expect to see much more about this. President Joe Biden, who, as you know, is on tour in the East. He was in Japan yesterday for the Quad Summit. He's in South Korea today. He said we must translate this pain into action. But this is only the latest reminder. Even though this is terrible, it's something that is going to break billions of hearts. The fact is that school shootings are the norm in the United States. Firings of this kind are the norm because of unbridled access to firearms and shooting weapons. Akshita, as you well know, the gun industry has never been acted upon. It's hugely influential, and no administration, no government, none of the Democrats have been able to effectively curb access to firearms and assault weapons. And that's one of the reasons why school shootings of this kind will continue to happen.
Very, very true, Shiv. It's going to put the focus again on gun culture in America, and they need to crack down on that. Shiv, request you to stay on with me. Let's just play out what US President Joe Biden has to say. As Shiv told you, he is currently on a tour in the East. He's expected to head back to Washington, D.C. this evening.
These kinds of mass shootings never happen with the kind of frequency they happen in America. Why? Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why do we keep letting this happen? Where in God's name is our backbone to have the courage to deal with it and stand up to the lobbies? It's time to turn this pain into action. For every parent, for every citizen in this country, we have to make it clear to every elected official in this country, it's time to act. It's time for those who obstruct or delay or block the common sense gun laws. We need to let you know that we will not forget. We can do so much more. We have to do more.
You know, Shiv, Joe Biden's right when he says that these kind of incidents happen more often in America than anywhere else in the world. The details that are coming in, it's truly disturbing. Here's an 18-year-old who went on this rampage in an elementary school. He was armed with a handgun. He had an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. He carried several high-capacity ammunition magazines. As a result of this, children between the age of 5 to 11 have been killed.
And some special children as well were part of those, who were massacred in this absolutely terrifying manner. And you're right, it's horrifying. This entire the Robb Elementary School area in Uvalde, Texas, has been obviously completely cordoned off. The immediate threat around that area has been lowered because the shooter has been killed as well on site. But like you said, 18 young children between the ages of 5 and 11, toddlers, little children, massacred in this absolutely horrifying manner, along with 3 teachers, 1 special educator. There are obituaries already pouring in at this point of time, Akshata. It's only going to be a matter of time before, images of the families will be out. Joe Biden, returns to the United States very shortly, but I'm not sure this is going to be an inflection point or a tipping point as far as gun culture is concerned, because if you look at it in a very clinical sort of way, this is one of the worst school shootings in the last decade or so, but it is not by far the worst school shooting in the United States. So with each passing massacre of this kind, there's a great deal of outrage. There's a lot of media spotlight on gun culture. There's a huge amount of social media attention to the race and profile of the person involved. In this case, Salvador Ramos is a Latino. He's of Mexican heritage, even though he was born and brought up in the United States. There will be a lot of back and forth between the Democrats and the Republicans, over immigrants and people of Latino heritage. All of that will happen, but the one thing that will not happen is any major legislative change as far as gun culture is concerned, access to assault weapons is concerned. As you rightly pointed out, Salvador Ramos, the 18-year-old shooter, had enjoyed the kind of unbridled access to firearms and assault weapons that most Americans do. And remember, this is Texas. It's like the firearms capital of the world. Texas has particularly alarming ease of access, to firearms. It's practically they practically have gun supermarkets in Texas, Akshata, where the entry level and the criteria to actually access firearms is laughably low. Anybody can really access firearms with the submission of a few documents, because the United States Constitution has the right to bear arms, the right to self-defense. Most families own firearms in these in this particular state. There are other states which have tried to foist legislation against firearms, but it has never really made much of a difference, because if you look at the U.S. map of gun culture and shooting, it's not confined to one place. You see it all over the country. So this is a really big deal. Remember when India's External Affairs Minister was abroad recently in the United States recently. He actually talked about this. When the United States was talking about India's human rights record and the communal safety record, S. Jaishankar had actually talked about the culture of shootings that are there in the United States, and I don't think anybody needs to do that, because what happened in Uvalde, Texas, is as horrifying and as heartbreaking as it can get. 18 young children who've been massacred without mercy.
Very true. Shiv, thank you for joining us this morning with those details. Tragic, disturbing news that's coming in from Texas. This 18-year-old, I'm not going to refer to him as a man, this 18-year-old boy was armed to the teeth. He didn't have one gun, he had many guns. Reportedly even posted a picture on Instagram, sent it to someone he barely knew, a picture of all of his guns, and said that he's got a little secret that he wants to tell her. And that post was perhaps a hint that he was going to go on this kind of a rampage. 18 children, little children, who've been shot dead in that elementary school.
At the Civic Center to pick up.
So we're going to get you all the updates that come in on that particular case. Horrifying news that's come in from Texas this morning.